Hello everyone, and welcome to some more Space Engineers. Today's video will be taking you on a tour of my latest ship build, and that is this ship here, which I am calling the Dragonfly Mk.1. And I call it the Dragonfly because I think the overall profile of the ship actually somewhat resembles the bug, so I figured might as well name it after that, makes it easier. Anyways, the whole design of the ship is the airframe or chassis, whatever you want to call it, is going to be designed to be very versatile. So there's going to be three main versions. There'll be A, B, and C. A is what you're looking at here, and it's a transport / passenger version with a slight amount of cargo space. There'll be a B version, which will be a cargo version, and then a C version, which will be a military or combat version. So just looking around the outside here, I tried to give it somewhat of a unique looking design. The cockpit up here was heavily inspired by the MH6 Little Bird with its kind of teardrop shape to it. Lots and lots of glazing because I like the way it looks. And that's only for the transport version. The cargo and military versions will have significantly less glass. And it's got these two pretty large engine pods which sit high and away from the body of the ship, which allows for many different types of hulls to be incorporated. So for the cargo version you could have a much wider hull here in the center section. Well, anyways, now after looking at the outside of the ship, you may be wondering how to exactly you're supposed to get into the cockpit. Well, that's probably one of the coolest features of this ship, is that it's got a back lift gate here. So it's got a ramp to get in rather than a door. So what you have to do is just toggle this switch, and this will raise the ship up off the surface of the landing pad. Come around to the back here and open the cargo hatch. And this little switch here just turns on a light to make it easier to see what you're doing. Now we'll go ahead and go into the ship and turn around and close this hatch behind us. So this area here where the door shuts is the cargo bay, so you've got a decent amount of storage for any passengers, any spare parts for the ship, things like that. Kind of a cool little area, I think. And then moving on to the center, main part of the ship, like I said, it's a transport version, so it's been equipped with seats and tons of glass. Relatively comfortable flying arrangement, I guess. And I'll move up to probably my favorite part of the ship, and that is the cockpit. Now, due to the collisions with the small block modded pieces are still a work in progress, so you can't actually walk around in here because of the glass. Actually takes up a lot more space than it should. Hopefully they'll fix that soon. But anyways, we got an array of buttons here and switches that do a number of different things. So this switch here will turn off that main cargo spotlight. This switch here, excuse me, it might take me a second. This turns off the main white interior lights to make it a little bit darker inside the cabin. This switch here will turn on the cruising lights, which are these kind of soft red glowing lights. And then finally, this other switch will turn on the cockpit lights, which are a nice cool blue, which I think makes for a really cool look on the interior of the ship. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get into the cockpit. I think it has a pretty cool look to it, especially when you're sitting in the pilot seat. Now I've got that smaller seat there because I like the way it looks, but this one's easier to get into because you can't actually walk around the cockpit just yet, so I'll probably switch this one out for another one of those eventually. Now, in order to get this thing going, you gotta activate the navigation lights, so we'll go ahead and do that. Just turn those on. You can see I've got the red lights and the green lights to indicate port and starboard, which is pretty cool. And then I've also got certain functions bound to the hotkeys, which makes operating the ship much easier. You can see I can raise and lower the lift gate, turn on certain lights and things with the hotbar there. Alright, let's turn on the landing light. Alright, and we are ready to take off. You can see the engine pods do all of the upward and downward thrusting, as well as forward and reverse, and then along the side of the ship there's a number of micro thrusters, which are what move it from side to side. So it's not super fast, but it's not slow, and it's not super agile, but it also doesn't fly like a tank. I mean, it's pretty much right in the middle there, and that's all it really needs to be, especially as a transport vessel. I think the design ended up coming out pretty nifty, and I really like the way that it came out. And I look forward to kind of working on the modded versions. Now I've got another one over there, which is actually the first one that I built, and it has a different way of actually getting into it. So let's go ahead and land the ship. Just go ahead, come in for a nice little landing on the pad here. Try and get ourselves positioned properly. Doesn't need to be perfect. Alright. Now when landing, I like to land with the gear raised, because pistons are still pretty fragile at this point. So I'll just touch the ship down and then raise it up, and then toggle the gate down, which you can see there. Oh, this happens sometimes. That's also an issue with the collision with the glass. Sometimes you will teleport outside of the cockpit, which is a little bit annoying. Hopefully that's going to get fixed soon. Anyways, this is the other version of the ship. The only real difference here on this one is that it has a lift instead of a ramp in the back. And then from a few other minor details on the interior, it's pretty much the same ship. Well, anyways, there'll be a link in the description to download this from the Steam Workshop, and I'll be adding the other two versions as well and making videos on them. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, a comment below, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.